I asked you if you went to the place and you never responded.
I probably fell asleep. That was at night, you know? I sleep at some point during the day. I will take a nap, usually at night.
It's like you go to the place, nothing. So then I like wave the next day. Like you just wave back. I'm like, all right, well, at least you're alive. It was 10:45
at night. I'm definitely sleeping. 100% sleeping.
Well, but you're up in the morning. How was it? Did you have fun?
It was cool. Yeah, it was cool. This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 27 of The Real Word. Word is up.
Wow, that was pretty dramatic.
I like that one. You know?
Wow.
You know, you're super like not even into this today because we're actually
I'm super
recording
into it. Look,
this
I even
on
wore blue.
Memorial
Look,
Day.
I had my sweatshirt. I took my sweatshirt off to like wear my blue.
I mean, you're just like
blue pride. I'm so excited.
I don't feel like you're feeling the Memorial Day thing. The 5 a.m. call was one of the greats of all time.
It was a good 5 a.m. call.
And I can't come
but
in.
Then
you're
I
like,
sat and like you were like a half hour late this morning.
Got it.
Yep.
That's what it was all about.
So here we are.
We've had it. Now we know what she's really peeled at.
I'm not actually angry about anything, although I am angry that my coffee is just a little.
When we were talking about this main topic, you seemed to get angry about that.
The main topic.
Well, about the 100% fact that a large majority of the buyer agents out there are finished. I mean, over the next 5 years.
You were pretty what's the word? Emphatic? Is that the word?
Emphatic?
No, emphatic.
Emphatic.
Yeah, like over. Like hopefully Sam was recording it when
you can play it, Sam, if you want.
You were pretty. The camera wasn't even on, and you were yelling at it.
All right, so here's the deal. Teak Wiggin. This is an Inman article. One of the best Inman articles I've come across in a long time.
Wow.
Great 5 a.m. call today. I'm ranking everything in the all-time greats.
Today's a good day.
So Teak writes, I toured an open door home for sale, and its frictionless tech was a game changer.
Frictionless.
So this is how it worked for Teak in his experience.
Sounds so erotic.
The app opened up, and Sam, you can maybe pop this on the screen, this little screenshot that they have. I'll share this with you. And it brought him right to the home.
I wonder, you know what's so funny though? So I'm going to let you finish what you're talking about, but I feel like soon after this whole like open door thing where people like map to like a home, I bet you there's going to be articles in like 6 years of like, before you go into an open door home, make sure you know, like, make sure someone knows where you're going.
In case you get like
murdered.
Yeah. Taken down the wrong
It's going to be like a
path.
pretend house that like, it's all going to switch.
So, I mean, it's basically Google Maps, right? And it's going to take you all the way to the home. There's going to be some voice activation helping you find your way. All that we know how to get to homes in 2018. We can agree, right? Like this GPS features are nice to have, but it's definitely not a game changer.
No.
What is a game changer is when he arrived to the house, there's a sign that says this home is open, which is typical for most open door listings, from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
I mean,
that's the big game changer.
Well, so yeah, I mean, you're going to have to, obviously, the seller's just going to have to be okay with that, right? Is that like criteria for open door? Like, do you have to allow your home?
No, these open door, they're owned by Open Door.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. My apologies.
So these are vacant homes, right?
Yep.
And so 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Why is this such an important game changer to me? It's because you and I both know, this is one thing we 100% can agree on, that buyers want to see homes when they have it in their head now at that moment.
Now.
This creates that convenience at scale for people. 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. gives them a lot of options to just show up. There are going to be buyers when this really starts to infiltrate certain markets that only look at open door listings because they're just like, I don't want to talk to an agent. I prefer not to have a conversation with a buyer agent because they are annoying.
Wow.
Perhaps.
I don't think I'm annoying, but yeah.
You're kind of cool to hang out with.
Kinda. People like, let's look at houses even though they're not looking to buy a home because they just want to hang out, you know?
Well, that's a really good use of your time.
It's so funny you're mentioning this whole house being open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and we were just talking about having like a barbecue with the team. I'm thinking, hey, let's just go into an open door house, right?
Have the barbecue there?
It's going to be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. We'll just be like, invite our friends over.
Let's find an open door house that has an amazing outdoor kitchen, and we'll bring the tablecloth, we'll bring the cheese and crackers.
There it is.
Or what's your word? All the schmutz,
as you would say? All the schmutz, yeah. And then we just...
And then Nicole White special right there.
It ends at 9 because the doors get locked, you know?
That's, I mean, I think there's probably a little bit. I just downloaded the app while we're sitting here, actually. And I'm going to actually go through it. I'm going to see if they'll take me the GPS all the way to Arizona. Because that's where a lot of these open door listings are.
We should go over that. We should test it out. Ooh, we should do that.
We should have done that
real
when we were,
word. Well, now
when
we
we
know.
were out in
we
Arizona.
can totally go back.
Gotta go back.
I bet you'd be dirt cheap in August when it's just like everyone's sweating to death out there. We'll be like.
So he's in front of the door. He clicks tour this home now button on the app to receive access. Receives a text message with a link.
It's like
clicks on it.
scary though. Like, what if you're not even? I mean,
Sam, can you put this one up too?
Open Door doesn't care, I guess, if you're a qualified buyer. But like, people are just accessing these homes.
This is what the question comes in when you get the link.
If I had a house next door that was on Open Door, I'd be a little concerned. Like, who's going in? Who's coming out?
I think that's
Nicole White's throwing a party today.
I think that's being very fearful of change. I don't.
Oh, I'm not fearful of change. I'm just saying it'll be interesting to see what happens.
It'll be interesting to see if there's any crime related to these listings.
Right. Well, it's interesting though too because we're going to be talking about a racket in a little bit, and I almost feel like Open Door would have probably. Well, anyway, we'll talk about that.
Anyway, what?
Well,
jeez, that was really insightful. What was that? Anyway, Sam, I don't know what the hell Nicole was just talking about. Pop this up. The question says, are you working with an agent? And the answers are buying on my own, not yet. I have an agent. I am an agent. So it's interesting because a lot of people will just go directly to the listing agent. In this scenario, buying on my own, Open Door is going to save money in that scenario.
Right.
There might be, and I have to dig a little bit deeper. There may be some type of buyer kickback on these purchases if you don't work with an agent. But he nailed it. The frictionless ease at which you can tour properties. This is certainly not going to go away. I believe there'll be an app within the next 5 years that allows homeowners to set something up very similar. Meaning maybe they have cameras. Okay, you know this is a recorded home, but you can tour at 6 to 9 because
well, there's the robot. Remember we talked about the robot in one of the. There's gonna get a robot in there.
There's gonna be a lot of opportunities to tour homes without human beings. It is what it is at this point.
Yeah, it's super interesting though because I feel like I feel like I have so many concerns, but I'm not because I'm against it. I do still see value in there being somebody, not maybe visible, but like somebody.
This is what I don't think you need a human being.
For disclosure or, hey, make sure you look at this.
You're going to have inspections.
Yeah, but so I like to disclose during showings because then they can't come after me during an inspection, right? So like.
Here's what I think is important. You brought up a great example when we weren't filming the show. And you said, well, I have this buyer.
Right.
And they're from a different state. And they do not know the area. If I'm a buyer, like if I want to buy a home in Florida at some point.
Right.
I would I guess I wouldn't 100% use a buyer agent. I know a lot of my Florida peeps are going to be upset right now. But I've been down there for 15 years and I really understand the area. If I didn't understand the area, and I will actually use a buyer's agent because they're just going to know more information than I am.
Well, I also
they're going to know who fixed up what and who the relative and your neighbor is such and such and they know who, right? And that's what you were able to do with this out-of-state buyer.
Right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, I think what also comes down to, I mean, I tried to sell my home 2 years ago. You just sold your house this past year. There comes a time though too where you just always
notice that she said she tried to sell her house and I did sell my house. Just a little jab right there. Go ahead, Nicole.
Wow. But there came a point during my process and during your process too, where like you, even as an agent, because it's your own personal home, we're looking for some sort of guidance from somebody that wasn't.
I got guidance from you.
Yeah, from somebody that wasn't in the scenario.
She ripped me for having fake landscaping up in front of my house, virtual landscaping.
Does that as a realtor? Like, let me just put like fake shrubs. Like, just go out and buy the flipping shrubs. I'll dig the holes for you. I mean,
did you bring mulch or I brought?
No,
you made me bring the mulch.
You didn't do the mulch. I said do mulch.
I did the mulch
because it needed to be weeded.
I did the mulch.
And you needed some mulch. Anyway, I don't even know how we got this far off the topic, but so I agree. I think that it is super frictionless. There are going to be some buyers. I still think that there is an importance to us, though.
Oh, well, absolutely.
And I agree. It's super easy to get in and out. I just
don't think there's any denying the fact that we're going to need far less buyer agents over the next 5 years because a certain percentage of people are going to lean towards using technology to do almost everything. And as people age up, that's only going to get more and more likely.
Right.
And so there's opportunity in that. Like
well,
there always
I
is.
think people are going to want to do it more so because they just don't even want to have to like communicate with an agent or a person, or they don't want to.
All right, let's get. We got 3 really good rackets.
Great
so
rackets.
Let's jump into
it.
them.
All right, I'm ready.
Racket number 1. Quicken Loans sibling, in-house realty, basically, I think their parent company, purchases for salebyowner.com for $2.5 million. Not billion, 2.5 million.
It's like a steal.
Is this a racket? What do you think?
So so what I was trying to say earlier, I almost feel like Open Door needs to be buying a mortgage company because I feel like they could then actually, if you're not being represented by an agent or
click here for your mortgage.
Right.
Buy now.
Well, then at least like, hey, get pre-approved before I'll grant you access to the property. If you're not being
that's gonna happen too. You
bring it.
Say
like,
that again.
Maybe we should start that.
Well, that's gonna happen. Like I was talking. Well, I don't even know if I can say that because what I can say is, I'm like Nicole. I don't know if I can say that. I don't want to say that right now.
Wow.
Well, what I can say is there are definitely people right now, developers working on things that won't allow you into a house unless what you just said, your pre-approval is uploaded.
Well, I don't, again, that Open Door thing, again.
Because today, the way we do it.
I mean, again, like Nicole White would just be throwing a party in the house.
The way we do it today, there are a lot of showings that happen with, not the way we do it, like you and I, but the way as an industry we do it, there are a lot of people seeing properties that are not qualified yet. Not to say that they wouldn't be qualified if they just took the steps. They just haven't taken the steps, which tells me they're not likely to buy in the next 60 to 90 days for sure, because they're not even serious enough to go and get a pre-qual. Right.
Or they think that them just doing a little mortgage calculator informs them of what they can afford to buy.
And then they know what they make. But what's interesting about this and why this is, now maybe it's a racket that Quicken Loans is going to be successful, but the reason this isn't a racket is because, like what you just said with Open Door, like what they're trying to put together, like what Zillow could potentially, and what Zillow really is, people are trying to put together their own little marketplaces. Right. Where a buyer can get everything. Get the loan, get the houses easily.
I've been talking about owning a marketplace forever.
Yeah, but you want to like sell like cheese and dumplings and stuff.
Well, whatever.
You know.
That's okay.
So,
dumplings.
What do you think? It's a racket? Quicken Loans?
Well, I do.
Racket mortgage?
I guess I just don't really see. I think that they just bought the domain. I think forsalebyowner.com is like a great domain to own. I'm sure if you had $2.5 million, you probably would have just
love buying domains.
You would have just bought it yourself. So I mean, I guess I think it's a racket only because it doesn't really change anything, because I think forsalebyowner.com is like dead anyway.
Of course, if $2.5 million sale price, it's dead. It's a domain
super dead.
price.
But hey, like, dude, I guess you got a deal on a domain name. Like, congratulations.
Congrats, Quicken Loans. All right, racket number 2, Nicole's favorite highlight of all the rackets every week from Realtor Mag. What would people sacrifice
to buy a home? Woo, I mean, I was surprised to read this one. Like, I think the very first thing, people would actually give up the right to vote to buy a home.
This is
I'm very confused.
Odd. So millennials, 26% are more likely than Gen X, 20%, and baby boomers at 7% to be willing to give up their right to vote. Men are more likely than women to give up their driver's license, 14% versus 9% respectively.
Well, I guess if you're in a city, but like, how are you going to get to work in order to pay for that home?
We're doing this on Memorial Day. These people don't even sound like Americans to me. Like,
I mean, the right to vote.
If you want to give up your right to vote in order to buy a home, like, just go buy an island somewhere. I'm
ashamed.
Right? Like, yes. I'm a little ashamed too.
I mean, I love the fact that you are so passionate about wanting to be a homeowner. That's awesome. But I almost feel like, you know what, just keep saving your pennies and then eventually you'll buy a home. I don't know.
The first thing I thought of before I actually read the article was that people all the time, renters give up location. Right. Because they're renting in a cool downtown place, maybe a 1-bedroom or you know, some type of studio apartment. Right. And then they're going to buy that first home and they get priced out of the downtown location. They go out and they buy a little further out. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking. But this stuff is this is a total racket. This like is wacky as hell.
Right to vote.
This is nuts.
Oh, clearly. I wonder though if those people have. I wonder if they've even registered to vote. Like we should find out. Like if those people that said they would give up the right to vote, if they've even registered.
They're like, I
Because
haven't
they've
voted
already,
in 15
they've
years.
given it up already. Like they're just because
Forget it.
they don't believe in their vote. I don't know. It's a racket.
Total racket.
Total racket.
Racket number 3. This is going to be by far the best part of the show.
Uh-oh.
Even though I think the main topic was really interesting. Should a listing agent disclose when there's multiple offers to the buyer agent or the buyer if one of those offers is over full asking price? Should they disclose that?
Well, so maybe we should back up though, because we have to at least say that the seller has authorized you to do that, because you can't do it without your seller's authorization.
Can't do it without your seller's
No.
authorization.
So if your seller tells you that you can disclose the fact that you have an offer over list price, your question is, do you do it?
There are agents.
I think you're required to do it, by
well,
the
if
way.
your seller tells you to do that, then you
Yes.
need to do it. But there are agents that believe
That's unethical.
that it's unethical.
And that you're driving up the price and like, I'm trying to represent my buyer client here. How dare you? Well, we're trying to represent our seller client here too, and to get him the best deal. And if we know, so in all honesty, in this situation, because this is an actual direct example of something that happened this past week, I think the woman
Or this past year or this past month.
yeah, whatever.
It doesn't
My only
have to
point is
technically
though,
be this week.
No, but my point is though is that she was calling you a liar. I don't even
Or
think
he or
the
alien.
whomever, the alien thought that you were lying.
Example A. Yeah, and so and people some agents believe that there are agents out there that are just doing something like this to drive up the price, but there are also certainly when you take a listing, an exclusive listing on a property, you are 100% representing the seller.
Yes.
What's in their best interest? If you really can stand behind an offer in writing that is over asking price, it's to your benefit as the listing agent and the seller to have this discussion, create the strategy around, okay, we're going to let them know that we have an offer over asking price, because I'd love as a seller to create a bidding war and get 3, 4, 5% over my list price and put more money in my pocket, because if I'm a seller, that's what I care about.
Right. Well, you can even disclose the amount. So if you don't even want to go back to all those buyers, and you want to deal with just one, like go back to the one and be like, hey, like here's the number. Like you can actually see the offer. Like if your seller says that, you can go back and just work with like you don't even have to go back to everybody.
And it may be different in another state, but here in Connecticut, you could literally send them the offer.
If the seller authorizes it, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so the buyer's like, you're sending my offer over?
Right.
That's where people
the
get
whole
a little...
thing. Well, I think everybody just still feels like they have to like go back to everybody and like work with one, because I've been in many situations where I've only ever gone back to one. They're like, well, I didn't even come back to us. And it's like, maybe that wasn't in my seller's best interest to go back to just one, because I've been actually in 2 or 3 situations this year where we came in with an offer. There was multiple offers, but because one of the other offers, remember, like there was a few of them where they were a little bit higher. She's like, sorry, we went with another offer. And I was like, wait a minute, like before you sign it. And I was actually able to get the home. So in those situations, it was a bad decision to go back to one.
This topic...
But you can totally just go back to one.
And the reason I'm glad we ended with this racket, this conversation right here, is exactly why on number 1, some people are going to need a buyer agent.
Right.
Or some people are going to find out that doing it on their own, they ended up getting, not the best deal. They ended up not getting the house they wanted.
They kept losing. But on the flip side, I think the biggest racket of all of this is that agents get their emotions involved in way too many deals. Way too much time.
Every market you go into. And so that's the thing, right? Like if I'm a buyer, it's going to come down to, if I'm working with a buyer's agent, first question I'm asking is like, how many deals have you negotiated?
Right.
Like,
okay.
I want someone that's negotiating, that's able to negotiate more so than I want the location expert. For me, this is just talking for me, because I can figure out the location. Like I can get into the coffee shops, I can go out to dinner, and I can start to talk to the locals and really figure out if that's the location I want to be in. But I need somebody that's negotiating on my behalf,
or at least
like
knows,
what you're talking about.
like, hey, like in this situation, let's do an escalation clause, like just something
that isn't doing one deal every 7 years. That's seeing scenarios.
But that
play
also
out.
won't let their emotions get in the way. I mean, there are so many deals. I can't tell you that, agents are fluffing their feathers because like they need to win.
Peacocking.
They think that they're like doing their clients like a better service because like they're yelling or getting like that's why they hired you. They hired you because they're going to be emotional. They don't want you to be emotional. I mean, we're all working towards the same goal. If your seller wants to sell and my buyer wants to buy, let's flip and figure it out. Like bottom line.
Let's do this deal.
So
love your 2 cents on if buyer agents, if there's going to be more or less of them over the next 5 years. I could be completely wrong. Maybe technology enhances the opportunity for even more agents to enter the game. I think it'll be less. Love your opinion. And on this last racket, I'd love to see where you sit on should you disclose it as the listing agent if there's offers over asking price. Yep. Let us know. Racket it up. Send us any rackets that you want us to talk about too, and we'll throw them on the show.
Throw it on there.
Awesome.
See ya.
Happy Memorial Week.
The week. We're
the whole
doing
week.
Yeah, the whole week. We're red, white, and bluing all week.
See ya.
Bye.